You are listening to Bold Dreams Held Loosely, Visions Embodied. What does it mean to hold a bold dream loosely? It means imagining the wildest, most daring possible future for yourself and having the courage to set out toward it. It means faith in the process and in the destination that the journey makes possible, that only takes shape as you journey toward it. It's being completely open to what life unfolds before you, trusting your internal compass will guide you to a place beyond your most wild imaginings. Visions Embodied is a collection of stories from way stations on the journey to self-actualization and becoming. We are all on different journeys, but we never walk alone. My name is Taryn Watts, and I am the founder of the Mind Rebel Academy. Inside this series, I hold space for the stories of MRA alumni who are courageously walking their path towards their dreams. Inside these conversations, they share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of the road less traveled. Let these stories open your mind to what is possible. It's such an honor to have you here. It has been such an honor to have you in the MRA as a student, and now an alumni of the MRA, and to see the beautiful work that you're doing in the world. And you are a woman who is so driven by purpose and by mission, and your story and your journey of what led you to this point has been um, truly filled with unimaginable grief. And your desire and your courage to come on here and to share your story and to fully self-express you. And before this podcast started, I read to Izumi, we have a new promise to our guests. And you know what I'll do? I'm actually going to post this in the show notes. I'm going to post our promise to our guests in the show notes. And it's this is a space. This is not a lead magnet. It's not the intention of the bold, get more clients or students, or this is the true intention of this podcast is you and me sitting here talking from our souls, from your soul to mine. And we trust that your story, your words are going to reach the people that it needs to reach in the divine timing that they need to hear it. So Izumi, with that, do you want to share a little bit about, you get to go wherever you want to go in this conversation. But do you want to share a little bit about what led you here?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Japan. I moved to the United States. Well, now it's 13 years ago. No, 11. No, wait, 11 years ago. Sorry.
Doesn't time just blend together?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think as long as I remember, after I graduate from college and diving into adult life, being more responsible, having a full-time job, or maybe even before that, I remember asking questions like, who am I? What's my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
And I was in that realm of personal development for years before I joined MRA, practitioner training, coach training in MRA community. I read tons of books. I bought online courses. I've been still listening to podcasts, watching YouTubes, everything that a lot of people probably do too. But I always had a question of, then what's my purpose? And I always felt like, oh, this is not it. like working in a hospitality industry. I didn't feel that was my purpose. Um, Working in a cosmetics company, that didn't really feel that was my purpose. And I moved to United States, and I was in the marketing research company, but that wasn't really feel like that was my purpose. So I was always, for years, I don't know how many years, but I was always and looking for my life's purpose.
Mm.
Um, with that, I was always happy and always positive, optimistic,
You are.
trying.
Yes.
And sometimes that put me in toxic positivity, but
Yeah.
still, I was trying to learn the lessons. What's the insight? What's the wisdom there? And in a way, everything that I learned up until that unimaginable event that served purpose. But the things that I learned served purpose and has been. And when my older daughter passed away from cancer at the age of 4, everything that I learned in personal development just didn't really help. And
Mm.
the question of what's my life's purpose became so big, and what's my life's purpose now? And in divine timing, I was introduced to MRA and your work, and there was no brainer. Like, I just felt like it was meant to be. MRA was presented to me at the right time, divine timing. And when we started the practitioner training, and in the earlier stage, when I heard the definition of life purpose,
Yeah.
I hope I can say it right, discover and express the most authentic, truest, and purest version of who I am. And with that, like, my life's work is to simply create, well, for me, it could be find the right outlet to do so that let me up. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
it's not just that my life's purpose is to serve someone outside of me. It starts with me.
Mm. Mm. It's such
That's
a it's a paramount shift in perspective, isn't it?
uh-huh.
To go from thinking that and to go from thinking that our purpose is something outside of us. It's to serve or create something, or it's not out. It's a paradigm shift to think, wait, this purpose is not something I'm trying to go find,
Uh-huh.
right? It's purpose is actually already here. And my purpose is twofold, like you said. My purpose in this lifetime is to continue to discover the most true, authentic version of me. And I say continue because, as we know, Izumi, as two humans just so devoted to this work, our most authentic selves are a continuous unfoldment and evolvement. And so that discovery, I don't think it's ever ending really, discovering new facets of our authentic selves, new, you know, areas, new little corners of our authentic selves. So that's our purpose, is just to come home to that version of ourselves and to experience through expression of that version of ourselves. So if that's our purpose, then our life's work is to find and create outlets so that we can experience ourselves fully through vocation, through parenthood, through partnership, through community, through service, through those things. But it's actually very self-oriented. It's my self-expression through these things. That's our purpose. And so I'm hearing that definition of purpose really lit something up inside of you, awakened something inside of you. What was that?
He gave me, and still is, gives me permission to try what feels right or what makes my heart like jump up and light up and excited. And of course, the earliest stage of grief. I don't know if it was outlet, but it was surviving.
Yeah.
That was all I could do and be with our surviving daughter. It was my husband, and that was
Mhm.
the only thing I could do. But knowing that definition allowed or allows me to experience everything that this life
Mm.
presents in front of me. And it allows me to express or start fundraising for donations to the organization that helped us during our older daughter's treatment. It led me to do something crazy. I actually spoke at the stage of fundraising event,
Wow.
and I felt that was right to me, to my soul. And it also allows me just do what feels right to me without any expectation
Mm.
other than gives me of fulfillment or joy or happiness, or maybe it's just one time thing or once off fundraising event, or no, event is every year, but speaking at the stage could be just once off thing. But I felt so right to do.
Mhm.
And and I know by me speaking at the stage could help the organization to raise more money to
Mhm.
support other cancer patients and their families who's struggling.
Mm.
So just having knowing this definition of life purpose just again allows me to see broader picture, gives me a lot of permissions to be who I am and how I can express what I want to do, how I want to show up, and allows me to try different things.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, as I was thinking about today's conversation, and again, this definition and life's work, it just was such an eye opening for me. I was going through notes and my vision board that I created like
Mhm.
years ago. And I found this quote. It's in Japanese, but it's that I cut off those quotes from magazines. That's like years ago. It's a vision board from years ago. And I found this myself cutting out some quotes saying that even though you may not be interested in, try it if the opportunity rise or presented in front of me. It's like, oh, I always had that quote.
Mm.
And I always thought I was wrong to be interested in different things. Um, like growing up, I tried gymnastics. I was in track and field. I was cross country runner, and I wanted to learn English. I wanted to learn French. Now I would love to learn Spanish as well. Like there's so many things that gives me excitement to learn,
Mhm.
and I feel like I never. I think I keep telling myself I never really devote myself into one thing and find one purpose. This is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And in the way, I was beating myself up that I never find one thing. But again, knowing this definition of purpose, life's purpose, allows me to just explore and tap in
Mm.
that little nuggets that's sitting there, or if I run into a quote or run into something, or like if that excites me, why not try?
Mhm.
As long as I think this is one thing, it's like as long as the intention is not to hurt myself or someone around me. Like I'm not saying like, oh, I should try drug
Yeah,
or
right.
something
Yes.
that hurts me or someone else. But again, like as long as the intention is not to hurt myself or other than other people around me, why not try?
Mm.
If the opportunity arises or presented in front of me, and see if that's the right outlet for me.
You the way you come towards this definition of purpose is so inspiring. You're inspiring me. It feels so playful and it feels so exploratory. And this permission slip to just to try and to let it go if it's not the right outlet and to hold on to it if it is and just this invitation to meet life so fully.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And our surviving daughters, they're still young.
Mhm.
So she gives me permission to try with her and be creative, be playful, and curious. She asks me so many questions that I'm like, oh, I
Mhm.
forgot about
Mhm.
the perspective as someone who never
Yeah.
experienced something
Yeah. Like
that
the
we already have.
innocence of her perspective and
Uh-huh.
the clarity sometimes of our children's views of the world and before, life experiences happen and yeah.
Yeah. So, and sometimes that curiosity leads me to a place of like a wonderland, like, wow, I did not know this exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometime in the MRA conversation, we would say like bushes or like
Mhm.
mud puddle, like to me.
Mhm.
Sometimes it could lead to something a little messy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, But I also, from this work, I also know there's a way to get out of it,
Mhm.
or there's someone who will help me to get out.
Mhm.
It could be coaches, mentors like you, Michelle, or my peers, or anyone that I met in my life. Or it could be someone like I run into at a coffee shop. Like the other day, I was at the cashier or yeah, something, and so what business do you do? And I said, I do coach. I coach people, and he's like, oh, that's very interesting. Like, what does he do? Or like those little conversation
Yeah.
helps me to or reminds me of what I'm doing, why I want to do it, and yeah, reminds me that it is one of my outlets
Mhm.
to be who I am. And speaking of stepping into bushes or mud puddle, um, a year ago, I heard this little, well, I think it was always inside of me that I always wanted to write a book. And, but it was just out there. I don't know how, when, or what I wanted to write. A year ago, it just came to me as I'm still going through my grief. And again, the opportunity or a person showed up in my life. It gave me a little nudge. Maybe this is the time I can write a book. And oh my God, I said yes to that. But oh my gosh, that was crazy ride. I was in the bush.
Mm.
I was in the mud puddle like forever.
While writing it?
While I was trying to write, I'm like, why do I say yes to this?
So tell me about that, Izumi. What was that experience like?
Uh, so I don't know. It was the summer. Like I said yes to that nudge
Mhm.
in the summer, and that that warm air, the bright sunlight. I don't know, like whatever that magic gave me the energies to say yes. Why
Mm.
not? Because I always wanted to write a book. This could be one of the outlets. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
so that gave me excitement to say yes to, but that excitement kind of went like it kind of no, vanished completely, but the fire inside of me mm, became very small during the process of writing
Mm.
a book. And I don't know that if it's because of the topic that I was, or the topic, or I was still in like really deep grief.
Yeah.
I was still processing it. It wasn't like really smooth process for me. Like for someone, it could be very easy. They know what to write. They know the message they
Mhm.
want to share. But how I started this process, well, how I started process was like, oh, I got this. I get this. It's so fun. But during that process, I'm like, why did I say yes to?
Mhm.
It was holiday. I got sick, and And again, I was kind of beating myself up to say,
Mhm.
why? Why I thought this is my outlet or
Mhm.
purpose or serve others. Like, why? And then there's always someone, or not just one person, there are a lot of people who help me
Mhm.
to get me out of the bushes. from that puddle, whatever I was in. And it really helped me to finish. It's almost done to complete this project as one of my outlets. And again, this could be a big outlet. It could be very small. It's one of my outlets. So again, going back to that definition of purpose, life's purpose, and my life's work. So knowing, remembering those
Mhm.
is giving me a permission to do it messy and try and be playful.
Mhm.
And I'm so grateful for my family's support that
Mhm.
allows me to do this. And not everyone has these opportunities. Or they may have opportunities, but their circumstances may not
Right.
allow them to do it and express themselves.
Mhm.
So and life is messy,
Yeah.
but I think it's a matter of how we ride with it.
Oh, Izumi. I keep telling you, I wish I could wrap my arms I wish we were in the same literally in the same space right now so I could wrap my arms around you.
Yeah. Our surviving daughter, she's only 4, and I don't know how she's doing, how she's understanding
Mhm.
the whole thing. And and I sometimes ask myself, am I doing the right thing for her?
Mhm.
And I don't know because I never been in the position like she is.
Mhm.
I have my sister, I have my brother. They're alive, and I just don't know. But again, going back to the finding, creating outlet, outlet. It's one of the outlets definitely for me to be there for her, for our
Mhm.
surviving daughter, because it's not that gives me a joy, but I gives me a sense of knowing that she'll find her way.
Mhm.
Like I want to support her, and that feels right to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
That feels my heart. Um, so everything I've learned in practitioner training and coach training, and even going back to before MRA,
Mhm.
everything is going to lead me to see the world different perspective, broader perspective, and find little nuggets, golden nuggets
Mhm.
that I can take with me.
Izumi, you have such a beautiful spirit. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for opening up your heart and sharing this sliver into your journey and your perspective, your grief, your healing and healing. You said life is messy, and I so agree. And healing is messy.
And again, the best way out is
Yeah.
through.
I love that Robert Frost quote. The best way out is always through. And I know that quote, we talk a lot about that in practitioner training of learning how to actually feel our emotions and process our emotions through our body. And yeah, how to sit with ourselves, sit with the more challenging emotions instead of suppressing them. And we find our authentic selves through, like, it is a doorway. Those emotions are a doorway to our authentic selves.
definitely helped me through everything that comes with grief.
Yeah.
And some people keep themselves busy so that they won't feel it, but they will just shove it off. And for me, it was just go through everything
Mm.
and allow myself to sit with it,
Mhm.
whatever comes.
Yeah.
And MRA is giving me a space to do that.
Mm.
For me to be sit with everything that I'm going through. Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
So
you I think back to your cohort and your peers that were lucky enough to be in your presence, in your pod, and, you know, we spent a whole year together in
yeah,
the midst of deep transformations for everyone involved, and getting to hold space for you, Izumi, and be with you in the depths of both, like, the paradox between, or I shouldn't say the paradox, maybe the intersection of your grief and your you living a life on purpose, of purpose, and the wide range of human emotion that comes with that intersection. It's just it it like it truly was just, and continues to be such an honor to hold space for you, and to, I've never met Alice, but and I've shared this with you before. I feel her presence. I feel her in this conversation, and as we were preparing for this conversation, you invited Alice to be part of this conversation. And um her she is, you know such a massive reason for who you are today. She has helped form Izumi today, and that can be felt. Like, I as someone who holds space for the truest Izumi and all of the facets of you, that can be felt.
just came to me. It's something like, does a chicken comes first or an egg comes first?
Yeah.
Like, I know physically Alice inherited like genes from me,
Uh-huh.
DNA from
Uh-huh.
me. But at the same time, her soul is her life's purpose. Gives my purpose, like it just helps me to see or find, create my outlets. Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes beautiful sense. Thank you for sharing this, Izumi.
Thank you for holding space for
Mhm.
me, and not just this time, like throughout practitioner training and coach training and everything that you do. Every time there's when I hear your voice, your conversation with Michelle,
Mhm.
your guest, or when I read your emails or when I read posts, I always have something to take away, and it, they always help me to see the world from different view perspectives, help me to spotlight my blind spot. So thank you
Mm.
for what you do. I told you this like almost a year ago now in our one-on-one conversation when I was in training, coach training. If it wasn't for you in MRA and the community that you created, I don't know where I would have been after Alice passed away. There are so many people who led me to this too, and I'm so grateful for those people who led me to find you in the community. And I'm so grateful for my family and friends.
Oh, Izumi.
So thank you.
It has been my absolute honor, truly. You are an extraordinary human, like truly. And if the MRA could play a small role in helping you to access your purpose and your self and expression and your healing, and oh my gosh, you are our why. I always trust that students come to the MRA. We're not, it's too bad this is called a coach training school, because it's so much more than that. It's like, that's just scratches the surface of what we do here, and what learning these teachings and learning the Mind Rebel principles and then learning coaching skills does for a person. It's beyond learning how to have a coaching conversation. It's transformative. And
Mhm.
I believe that the this our students tend to find us in such a divine timing, in such divinely led ways,
Mhm.
right when they're meant to, right when they need it most. And your story, I mean, the way that we intersected is just such a beautiful example of that.
And again, I forgot if it was you, but I remember when a student is ready, a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
a peer, mentor, whoever
Mm-hmm.
needs to support that student. And that's exactly my story is
Yeah.
with MRA. Or anything. I think it's anything, but
Yeah.
it it just happened to be this magic happened the right time,
Yeah.
and it has such a big impact on my life, and
Mm-hmm.
not just my life now. Like I know that it'll impact our surviving daughter, my
Mm-hmm.
husband, and my family and friends. So I don't know how to end this, but thank you
Mm. Thank you, Izumi.
for everything that you do.
Thank you. At the Mind Rebel Academy, we train and support world-class coaches and leaders. We believe that a person thriving inside of their life's work creates a ripple effect that will be felt for generations to come. If you have a yearning to more deeply impact those you love and serve, coaching can create a powerful outlet to step into your purpose. The MRA is wildly dedicated to our students and their potential. Becoming a coach is not something you do, it's someone you become. This is why we have designed our renowned ICF-accredited Mind Rebel Coach Training Series to be a unique blend of coach skills training and deep reflective self-discovery. The passion, integrity, and devotion that we bring to our programs creates an intimate, high-touch, and deeply transformative experience for our students. And to ensure that we maintain that level of service and support, our flagship coach training only begins once a year in the spring and is limited in size. Visit our website to learn more about our start dates and how you can apply to join at www.themindrebel.com. This is so much more than a training. This is your legacy.